What is going on, YouTube? It is June 18th, 2014. Chris Pearson here with you. You guys probably are wondering why you're just hearing my voice and not seeing my face on audio. I am really going to work hard to try and get through this. You do not want to actually see me right now. For one, it's really hot in my house, and I'm not wearing a shirt right now. I'm so hot in here. It's been hot the last few days, and when it gets hot, I succumb to headaches. So I've just taken a couple ibuprofen. I'm really going to try to get through this for you guys. And I'm wanting to do this video for ever since E3 concluded. This is another edition of Plugged In for this week. This is going to be a lot to talk about in this video, slash, I guess, podcast with the audio here, for you guys to know about. I'm going to break down all that happened from E3, what the notes I took over it, everything that I saw and recorded, what I didn't see. So just a lot there to dissect, and I'll get to that. And also, of course, the weekly chart for the week, which we'll start with, and my thoughts on the recent games that have came out. So first, I did something there. There we go. So first, let's take a look at the weekly chart. And I'm going to take here a look at the numbers from this. This will be the week ending June 7th. So again, this is a week ago. The new titles we had out were Murdered Soul Suspect and Tomodachi Life. Murdered Soul Suspect, the multi-platform game. It actually didn't do too bad of a debut. I didn't think it would do as well, but actually it did rather well for itself. Multi-platforms usually do very well considering they're across all the different platforms. It did sell 81,000 copies first week, which for a multi-platform game, again, isn't bad, but it doesn't put it in the upper echelon of games like your Watch Dogs, like your South Park, like your even Thief, or even Metal Gear Solid 5, which is a big surprise. But again, I also think maybe the story behind the game kind of has a bearing on that as well. The fact that it's it kind of takes on this kind of dark thing where you're trying to solve your own murder, and it's kind of an odd demographic. I think it didn't even outsell the peak of Amazing Spider-Man 2, which that I think would tell you enough of where it stands. But now it did surpass the peak of Lego Hobbit, so I guess that stands for something. So again, a very lukewarm debut, and that's kind of what I expected for that title. Like, not astounding, not great, but at the same time not mediocre either. So again, that's kind of what I expected from that title. I also expected not a great debut from Tomodachi Life because again, I mentioned when we were talking about Tomodachi Life, with the whole scandal, many thought it would still sell, but not at the same level as some other 3DS titles this year. Only sold 24,140 copies in the United States its first week. So again, not at the same level as some other exclusive 3DS titles. Didn't even beat the debuts, of course, of like the Yoshi title or the Kirby title. And again, I think that was expected just because the scandal really put that game really in its place from the start. So it'll be interesting to see what it does in the coming weeks. I would expect it to pass the peak of Mario Golf. I think certainly it will get to that point. It will be tough, but I think it will be able to do that. In terms of the other 3DS titles, I don't think it will catch the likes of Bravely Default, Kirby Triple Deluxe, or Yoshi's New Island. I don't think it will catch those titles. And in terms of Murdered Soul Suspect, I don't think it's going to end up as one of the top games of the year. It looks like it's going to surpass 100,000 copies, which that will be good. If it hits the 200,000 mark, that I think will be an accomplishment for that game. So that's just the way I see those two going forward. Watch Dogs still continues to be the big top title, and it set the bar high. When it debuted a couple weeks ago, back on May 27th, it set the debut record of 2014 so far. It has now sold 1.8 million copies across its four platforms. Of course, that's Xbox One, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation 4. The exact number, 1,825,293 copies to be exact, just barely above Titanfall. It is not beating, let me explain, it's not beating Titanfall by much. If I can do the math here, put it in the calculator, because Titanfall's numbers also slightly increased this week. Watch Dogs is only beating Titanfall by about 120,000 copies, 126,337 copies. So it's a very tight battle now going on between Watch Dogs and Titanfall for the top game of the year. Titanfall is still, it's not selling at the pace and the rate it once was. Of course, in the early stages when the game first came out, back earlier in the year, back in March and April. But it's still having incremental moments of climbing. If I take a look here, the Xbox One version is still 14th for the week, sold another 15,000 plus copies, and the 360 version is 26th, about 9,000 copies. So it's still selling fairly well, but just not at the rate that it once was. And Watch Dogs sold another over 100,000 copies for PS4, another 79,000 copies for 360, 70,000 plus for Xbox One, and 49,000 plus for PS3. So clearly right now, the way that Watch Dogs is going, if it keeps climbing like that, if it eventually surpasses the 2 million mark, which will be the first game to do so, if it does that, it's going to be a huge step and bar set for later titles further on down the road. A lot that were revealed, of course, at E3, which we're going to talk about as well. So, and we got to talk about Mario Kart 8 as it continues to sell very well. Another 120,000 copies this week. That puts it over 500,000 in total quickly, 535,407. So still puts it as a number 4 selling title of the year. Again, I still expect it to catch Infamous Second Son. It's still about 100,000 copies behind now, but I certainly think it's going to hit that mark at some point. And I mentioned Watch Dogs Minecraft for PS3 eclipsed 200,000 copies this week. So in 4 weeks, it's over 200,000. It quickly climbed up fairly high. It's just behind Bravely Default now. I believe now it's in the top 20 of games of the year, 15th. So it's certainly doing just as well as its predecessor for the 360, which is still selling well in and of itself. It was 7th highest this week, another 33,000 copies. It's now at 2.6 million in 53 weeks. So really, that takes up the top 7. Watch Dogs, Mario Kart 8, Minecraft. Those are your big 3 right now. Then Murdered Soul Suspect for PS4 took up the 8th spot, and then Xbox One took the 10th spot, with sandwiched in between Tomodachi Life. And again, I mentioned other notables. X and Y for 3DS, 11th. Call of Duty Ghosts in 12th. Titanfall for Xbox One is 14th. Kirby Triple Deluxe, 16th in sales this week, and then 12,000 copies. It's now over 176,000 copies. So it has finally eclipsed Yoshi's New Island, which I expected Kirby to do, especially after its strong debut week. I expected this game to leapfrog past Yoshi's Peak, and it finally has. It took 6 weeks, but it has finally managed to do that. So, and I think, again, the sky's only the limit for Kirby. I think if, you look at it this way, 12,000 copies this week. If it continues that pace, it will catch Bravely Default in another 4 weeks. So in 10 weeks, it will be at over 220,000 copies. So keep that in mind. Then Wolfenstein New Order. it's still sold well for PS4 and Xbox One, but has gone down for the other titles. So it has hit its peak. It has peaked out at 420,572 copies. That still puts it as the 6th top-selling game of the year. And again, it would take a very big title to potentially catch that. Maybe, I'm sure Minecraft and PS3 will catch that at some point. Maybe MLB 14 The Show at the pace it's going. But only if, and then I'm sure there'll be other titles down the line that will certainly catch that number. Ghost for PS4, PS3 still selling well, 19th and 20th respectively this week. And then more Wii U titles, again with the Wii U selling well, with Mario Kart 8 and with the new title. New Super Luigi U is selling well, the Super Mario Brothers U. Infamous Second Son, 24th this week. Another 9,000 copies sold of that game. So that puts it at 664,203. Still the 3rd top title of 2014. It has pretty much been in either the 2nd or 3rd spot since its release. A lot of games now just trying to catch it, but Mario Kart 8 certainly could catch it in the coming weeks. And then you've got Ghost for Xbox One, Titanfall for 360, Diablo 3 for PC still selling well, Forza 5 for Xbox One, and almost now 760,000 copies. I mentioned MLB 14 The Show. It is now over 250,000 copies in 10 weeks. So think about that. That's an average of 25,000 copies per week for a baseball title. It shows that right now it's got the corner of the market. So quickly it is climbing the ladder as well. It will probably leapfrog at the pace it's going. It will leapfrog Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13 here in the coming weeks. And then finally rounding out the top 30 was GTA 5 for PS3, which, by the way, GTA 5 has now gone down in price, at least in our story. It's gone down to $39.96 on rollback, so that will only up its sales even more in the weeks to come as well. So basically, if you look, so again, right now the top 4 titles for the year are all active games right now, with Watch Dogs, Titanfall, Infamous, and Mario Kart 8, and those numbers, again, should only rise in the coming weeks to come. And then after that, you've got a whole lot of titles just trying to chase the way up to the top. The only debut that will be notable when next week's chart comes out for the week of June 14th is Enemy Front, a PS3 360 title that revolves around World War II experience. So I don't expect a whole lot from that game. But then again, being a shooter, you never know. So that will be interesting to see. And then the one that will really be interesting is when the chart following that comes out on the ending the week of the 21st for EA Sports UFC that just released this week. So that will be interesting to see how that game does. Even though it's only for next-gen consoles, it'll be interesting to see how well that game does as a whole. So hardware for the week, again, looking at the numbers, as a whole, consoles were really down for this week. In fact, 24% down as a whole across the board. But the only handheld that saw an increase was the 3DS. 8% increase, and maybe that is because of Tomodachi Life that it had an increase. But it sold another 28,000, almost 29,000 units this week. PS4 was still the winner this week. Another 46,000 units sold this week for PS4. It is now starting to really distance itself from Xbox One. When the gap was so narrow early on, but now it is really starting to pull away. 3.4 million units here in the United States. Xbox One sold another 22,000 units, but that was down 27% from last week. PS4, though, by comparison, was down 35%. Xbox One sold 22,486 units, so that puts it at about 2.8 million. So it still trails by about a good 500,000, 600,000 units. Interesting to note, though, that the Wii U is starting to catch up very close to the Xbox One. Only trails it now by about 300,000 units. Gee, I wonder why. Oh, that's right, probably because of Mario Kart 8. So that game is just paying off huge for the Wii U. Sold at 29,000 units this past week. So that was huge for the Wii U as a whole. So then you had, of course, I mentioned 3DS. One was fourth. Xbox 360 sold another 16,000 units, down only 1%. PS3 was down 2%, 7,600 units. Then you had the Vita down 16%. Vita still hasn't hit 2 million units in the U.S. No surprise. So that's really, so it was a down week across the board. It was also a down week across the board for software, 44% in total, but led by the 360, PS3, then PS4 third, followed by the Wii U, beating out Xbox One again. So I just find that very interesting how the Wii U is all of a sudden either leapfrogged the Xbox One in software by far now, by about 2 million copies, and it's very close to catching up in hardware. And Xbox One just released a new bundle for $399 without the Kinect. I don't know. Time shall tell, but that certainly intrigues me very much. Okay, so that is it on the chart breakdown for the week. So let's take a look. So now I'm going to share my thoughts real quickly with about E3 and what I saw and what I didn't see at E3, my thoughts on the games in general from E3. So starting with the Microsoft conference, they kicked it off, and no surprise, at least to me, they kicked it off with the new Call of Duty. With Call of Duty Advanced Warfare releasing this November. It's interesting that Xbox One users will have the first opportunity to play the new add-on content. I thought it was very huge for Microsoft to come out and do that. The gameplay obviously always looks impressive in Call of Duty games. We know Call of Duty is going to sell regardless. Whenever there's a new Call of Duty game, after the big success of Ghosts, I can only imagine what Advanced Warfare is going to do when it comes out. Still focusing on that November release date, which they intended to do in the past, October, November. Excuse me, a little tired, but so that definitely was really cool, and I think as always that game is going to sell very well. I found it cool that with Forza 5, they made a track available that day with the Nürburgring. I thought that was really cool. Seeing that track layout I thought was really, really neat. I love racing games. You know, I had a chance to demo when we had the Xbox One demo at my Walmart. We demoed the Forza 5 game, and it's very, very cool. I highly recommend it for anyone who has Xbox One. I recommend that game. But they are also making Forza Horizon 2, which is very cool for the 360, coming out this September. It's a very open world game. It has been confirmed the game will run at 1080p, which is awesome, and 30 frames per second on Xbox One. So actually, it will be for 360 and Xbox One. What's also cool, it will also have a dynamic weather system. That's a first for any Forza game at all. So that's very, very cool. You can control the weather as well. Forza Vista, the mode where cars are viewed and customized, that will make a return as Car Meets. It's an online mode where players can meet up online and compare their cars. So that's also a very cool feature as well. And a new feature known as the Bucket List will make its debut in Forza Horizon 2. These will have challenges like similar to the first game's 1,000 Club challenges. And there's two separate lists. There's one for France and one for Italy. So you're going to be in southern France and northern Italy in this game. So it's and also been confirmed that these challenges will be updated continuously. So that's very, very cool. The map now is 3 times as large as the first game, 3 times as much area to drive around, 700 new events, new obstacles. It sounds like this game is going to be far bigger and far better than the first game. So definitely for Forza fans, looking forward to Forza Horizon 2 coming out in September. Evolve, a multi-platform game coming right around the corner in October. That game looked very intense and awesome. You're basically it's a co-op game. You have 4 humans taking on 1 alien monster. That alien monster is cool though. That alien monster is controlled by a 5th player, and both hunters and monsters can use these unique abilities in the game. So that's really really cool. Where you're kind of taking on each other in the game. So I thought that game was really cool. The new Assassin's Creed, again, Assassin's Creed Unity. Didn't release a specific release date for that yet. But see, with me, again, I loved, the last Assassin's Creed I thought was really, really cool with Black Flag, with the pirate mentality. This one with Unity, I was a little bit confused, I have to say. Now, there's some nice new things in it. The parkour features, moving around the Paris, French Revolution, I should say. A whole new thing. But to me, it was just kind of odd. The way that the gameplay was, the trailers were kind of odd. Now, don't get me wrong, this game, I think anything Assassin's Creed usually sells well, so this game is still going to sell. But it just came across to me as a little bit different. So that one I was kind of put off by a bit. Dragon Age Inquisition, to me, looked awesome. I thought that game looked really cool to me. I'm a sucker for dragons, so that game looked really, really cool. Multi-platform. That comes out October 7th. A lot of games, again, I mentioned October 7th is going to be a circle the calendar day for games because that's going to be a day where a lot of your big titles come out. There'll be 2 forms of combat in the game. Action-oriented, third-person style, very similar to Dragon Age Origins. This combat system allows players to pause the game. They will assign locations and orders to the characters in the group, and then resume the game to see it played out. But then there's also a second, more strategic combat system, so different camera angles. It's called Tactical View, and allows for the placing of traps. So that's also very, very cool. Player choice is said to play a large role in Inquisition because players control the leader of the Inquisition called the Inquisitor. So basically, it all boils down to the choices that you make affect your gameplay, and I love games like that. That lead to different situations. So that was very, very cool. So I think that game is going to do very, very well. My favorite of them all, and again, I'm a huge fan of Insomniac games because I'm a fan of the Ratchet & Clank series. This one to me was the best, Sunset Overdrive. I'm already seeing that they're winning tons of awards from E3 already. That game looked absolutely awesome. The story is awesome. Now, it is an exclusive for Xbox One, but if you have an Xbox One, you need to get this game when it comes out on October 28th because it just looks so awesome. It's an open world, which, to me, open worlds are awesome. You're cleaning up a mess left behind from a party that Fizzco is throwing in celebration of the launch of their new energy drink, Overcharged Delirium XT. So these humans are OD, they've mutated. It's agile combat. You're running up walls, going down zip lines, you're acrobatic, you're customizing your character. There's also a new cool mode called Chaos Squad, where you and up to 7 other friends can compete together in the game and just go after it. This game just looks so awesome. I mentioned on here when Insomniac put out Fuse, I really hoped that game would have a success. It didn't. I felt so bad for Insomniac games with Fuse. I don't think Sunset Overdrive is going to disappoint. I really don't think. I think this game is going to be a huge seller. I really want to see it succeed, and I hope that it does because it just looks so awesome. That to me, just in my opinion. They also revealed Disney Fantasia Music Evolved. That comes out on October 21st. It'll be an exclusive for 360 and Xbox One. So very much a music type of game. It directly references Sorcerer's Apprentice, one of the most famous segments from Fantasia of all time. So you basically animate these worlds that have been created with music. So that's really, really cool. So if you like the music games and Disney games, that's going to be a big game for those fans. Other titles that they announced, the new Dance Central Spotlight. Now that's going to be a digital release only. It's only going to be on download this September for Xbox One. another Fable game, Fable Legends, is coming out sometime this year. And the cool feature in that game is that you get to be the villain, and that's always a cool thing. So again, it's kind of like Evolve, where you have 4-on-1. Here you have, again, based around 5 players, 4 heroes and the villain. So again, it's kind of similar vein to Evolve. Project Spark. Project Spark. This was definitely very interesting. It's an exclusive to 360 and Xbox One. The one beta is actually available right now. The console release still is to be announced, but the big thing with Project Spark that was revealed at the end was Conker. And Twitter blew up over the fact that Conker is going to be in Project Spark, because Project Spark is an E title. It's rated E for everyone. Conker is an M character, M for mature. So you kind of don't see the two really mixing in there. So that was definitely interesting. But the cool thing about Project Spark that I think, again, is really, really cool is that you get to create your own environments, your own experiences, your own games, your own experiences, remix content. You can use the controller, keyboard, mouse, Kinect, Smart Glass to create these environments and experiences. So really, that's what's really, really cool. You create the game. You create what you're going through. You design it all. So that's really, and you can share worlds on Xbox Live. And it doesn't require an Xbox Live Gold membership to play the game. So that's also very, very cool for fans. So I think that one's going to be really big. But that thing with Conker just blew Twitter up. Then they had some ones they were focusing on now. They had a couple more releases later this year. The one that I found that was really odd was that Ori and the Blind Forest. I found that trailer to be very, very odd. I didn't get it. It really kind of, it's an exclusive for Xbox One. It really kind of threw me off. That releases sometime this year. I didn't get it. If you get it, great, but I didn't. And then the big announcement was the Master Chief Collection of Halo. Even before Halo 5 Guardians comes out. That is huge for Halo fans. Halo has been a cornerstone of Xbox for years. Now you'll get to play this collection on Xbox One on November 11th this year, before the Guardians release comes out in next year, quarter 3, quarter 4 of 2015. So that's huge. There's also a new digital series coming out called Halo Nightfall before Guardians release. And but the Guardians beta will come out December of this year. So a lot with Halo to come later this year. But the Master Chief Collection, I think, was a huge announcement for Microsoft. Then they talked about, and the thing with Microsoft, I want to say, again, they stayed game-focused. And I think for them, that was a huge, safe step for them, because last year was all about the Xbox One and the hardware. This year, and clearly they lost to Sony with all the policies and such before they reversed them. But they stayed game-centric. So that was safe, and that was a good move. Then they talked about the games coming next year. A multi-platform game called Inside looked very, very cool. That debuts early next year. Another Tomb Raider game is coming out in holiday of 2015, Rise of the Tomb Raider. So the Lara Croft fans, something exciting to get excited about. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This, to me, was another one that I thought looked really, really awesome. That releases on February 24th of 2015. It's a multi-platform RPG. The Witcher games have always tended to do really, really well, and I think this one will be no different. The gameplay looked awesome. It concludes the story of the Witcher Geralt of Rivia. And continuing from The Witcher 2, the ones who sought to use Geralt are now gone, seeks to embark on a new and personal mission, and the world order itself is coming to a change. So, a lot of interesting things there with The Witcher. That game's going to do well. Then I also found it cool that they're going to start bringing back some titles from kind of the depths and remaking them. They're remaking Phantom Dust, Xbox One exclusive. This is from the same studio that also brought back Killer Instinct. Yes, it's going to be a download-only title, but fans of that franchise, got really excited over that. We saw some footage from Tom Clancy's The Division, which comes out in 2015 as well, a multi-platform third-person shooter. Anything Tom Clancy, again, usually sells really, really well on it, so I expect that game to the same. We kind of caught a glimpse of that at E3 last year when we saw the disease that spread on Black Friday that caused the United States to collapse. So we got to see a little bit more of that this time. So that was nice to see. And then also they revealed at the end of the conference, they unveiled 2 new exclusives for Xbox One, Scalebound, which looked to me really impressive, and the remake of Crackdown. They ended the conference with Crackdown. I'm like, whoa, that was huge because to me, you know, that was like a 360 classic. That was like, you know, and then you see the graphics for it on this and you're seeing it play out and this is just so sick. Like, oh, what's this game? And then finally you realize it's Crackdown. You're like, oh my gosh, it's Crackdown. So that was huge to end the conference with. Overall, I gave the Microsoft conference an A-. Only because of the fact to me that there were, again, a couple things that I didn't, you know, expect to see because I didn't see. I thought they were going to mention didn't happen. My top 5 reveals to me: Sunset Overdrive, Dragon Age Inquisition, Evolve, Witcher 3, and Crackdown. The odd reveal award to me, of course, I mentioned it, went to Ori and the Blind Forest. Most anticipated game for 2015 and beyond, to me, I think it's Crackdown. I think, to me, that's no surprise. Most controversial game, I think it's Project Spark with that whole Conquer thing. And to me, the most stunning omissions. There was no Fallout announcement. We got no new Fallout game. We thought many people would say, oh, we're going to get Fallout 4. That didn't happen. No new Gears of War game. No mention at all of the Xbox 360. None whatsoever. It was all mostly geared toward the One. No mention of the new console at all. They stayed game-centric. There was no mention of the new Xbox One for $399. No mention of that at all. And really, to me, there was no moment that just said, drop the mic here, this is awesome. There were a couple ooh and ah, but nothing like, oh my gosh. There was nothing like that moment to really get things going. So that was Microsoft's to me. They did well, but not like over the top well. EA's conference kicked us off with Star Wars Battlefront, as I think many people expected it to. That will release in the second and third quarter of 2015. Again, anything, Star Wars looked really impressive. And, DICE now taking it over. We will be built with the Frostbite 3 engine, same as we've seen in Battlefield games before. But it would still incorporate elements from the previous 2 games. But it's DICE's interpretation of what it should be. As such, DICE did not brand the new game as a sequel to Battlefront 2, but a relaunch. So really, it's a relaunch of the franchise. So this is going to be some kind of completely different, but it also has the same flair of previous Star Wars games. So that will be interesting. The thing that disappointed me, though, about the EA conference is that they gave us a lot of teasers and not a whole lot of substance. That, to me, was really disappointing about EA's conference. Like BioWare. We saw the BioWare clip. Oh, we're thinking of a new Mass Effect game, but we're not going to tell you what it is. And we're talking about this new IP, but we're not going to tell you what that is either. All we get is graphics and such. Like, okay, you're not really going to tell us anything, especially after that crappy ending you had in Mass Effect 3, and you're not going to tell us anything? Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. So that was disappointing. We got to see Sims 4. Sims 4, by the way, was a funny trailer. That was really funny. With I think his name was like Chuck and Gladys, and Gladys was beating him up, and then Chuck dies of laughter. That was kind of a weird ending. That comes out this September. Anything Sims has always been huge. Anything Sims usually sells well, so I expect that to do the same. They mentioned EA Sports UFC, which is now available. Just came out yesterday for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Yes, it's next-gen only, unfortunately. But the AI is very smart according to this. Gaming experience is more realistic than previous games. Full-body deformation to connect players with their player character. It was revealed that the Ultimate Fighter will be included at the start of career mode, so that's awesome. And, of course, the big thing they showed in the trailer, you can be Bruce Lee in the game. I mean, that alone should be a big reason to make you buy the game. So I expect that game to sell really, really well. The UFC brand is growing day by day. When they made the announcement at E3 2 years ago, that was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is exciting. So that was really cool. So I expect that game to do really, really well. NHL 15. This one, to me, got really, really excited because finally NHL is coming to the next-gen consoles. And I'm a hockey nut. I'm a big sports fan. You guys know that. But I'm also a big-time hockey fan. So I'm excited that the NHL game is coming to the next-gen consoles on September 9th. Now, NHL 15 will have a lot of new features. 12-player collision physics. That's going to have, so your hits are going to look more realistic. EA has completely rebuilt the puck physics. So everything, everything on the ice, including the surface itself, is live. Puck spins, rolls, bounces, seem like a real game. So that's awesome. Kind of like what they've said with the Madden franchise, where everything's live. This is the same thing. Better player likeness, so the players' look and actions actually look more like real life. And new broadcasters, and I love this fact because no more Gary Thorne and Bill Clement. Don't get me wrong, they do okay on their own, but they're kind of boring. Instead, we get Doc Emmerich and we get Eddie Olczyk, and I'm like, yes, because they are the most awesome hockey announcers ever. So I know it's kind of weird if you just listen to that, but that they are. And it will be the first game to reintroduce the rebranding of the Phoenix Coyotes as the Arizona Coyotes, because they're kind of changing their name next year to reflect that they're not just representing Phoenix, but the entire state of Arizona. So that will be cool as well. So they're coming to the next gen on September 9th. Then we got kind of an exclusive from Criterion Games. Again, with all this teaser crap, no title. We just get this extreme kind of action. There's ATVs and helicopters and base jumping, and it looked cool, but again, no substance. So we were just looking at that going, what did we just watch? We don't know what to expect of this. Really kind of disappointing. They did announce EA Sports PGA Tour, so a new golf game besides the Tiger Woods franchise, which I think is cool. That's going to come out in spring of 2015. That will also use the new Frostbite 3 engine as well. So that will be a cool feature as well. Obviously, it's not going to be an EA conference without Madden. They talked about Madden NFL 15. That releases on August 26th. We know that Richard Sherman will be on the cover, although he is making an attempt to get his entire Legion of Boom teammates on the cover with him. I don't know if EA will go through with that, but he won the cover vote over Cam Newton. There's going to be more focus in this game on the defensive side of the ball this time around. So the defense will be better. I think the AI is going to be better in the game, which is cool. So it's going to be a lot harder to play if the defense is going to get a lot smarter. So as well, and there's going to be more player emotion, more celebrations, more of that across the board. So every time there's a new Madden game, it's always exciting for me. I'm a big Madden guy, so I love the fact that some more exciting changes are coming to Madden 15. We got a tease of Mirror's Edge 2, so that was definitely exciting to see as well for the Mirror's Edge fans. FIFA 15 comes out this fall. Of course, we got the World Cup going on right now, but the new FIFA game coming out this fall. Talked about new emotions, better agility and control in the game, better movement, authentic player visuals, kind of like with the NHL game, a dynamic matchday presentation, and again, kind of the living pitch where everything's live and in motion. So a lot to look forward to with the FIFA franchise. Battlefield Hardline. They ended with Battlefield Hardline, and again, I think that was a great move because the new Battlefield always sells. We know that. That's coming out in October 21st. This multi-platform first-person shooter game. Whole new variety of gameplay. And really, though, it's kind of interesting that it kind of breaks away from the traditional Battlefield game. This is going to be, if you're not a fan of change, you're not going to like Battlefield Hardline because it's very, very different from the series' previous installments. There are 4 new game modes in this game. Heist mode, rescue mode, hotwire mode, and blood money mode. So very interesting modes across the board. The focus of the game has also been shifted. It's no longer a military background, but it's been shifted to police. So again, very, very different here in this game. But players will have access to military-grade weapons and vehicles, as well as having police equipment such as tasers and handcuffs. So different on both sides of the equation. Very, very different. And they ended it, I mean, kind of a little bit cheesy, kind of a little bit over the top. They ended it with the beta is available now. And then the smoke pulls up, and they reveal all these PlayStation 4s that have the game on it. That was a little bit over the top, but hey, that was the mic drop moment, and done. You know, that was it. So, so overall, I gave EA a C+. You know, not terrible against them, or some good reveals, but at the same time, you know, just too much teasing, not enough substance. My top 5 reveals: Battlefield Hardline, NHL 15, Star Wars Battlefront, EA Sports UFC, and Sims 4. The odd reveal award for me went to that Criterion Games tease, no title in it. Most anticipated game, at least for me, NHL 15. Maybe your others is Battlefield Hardline, but for me, it's NHL 15. Most controversial game, whatever that new Mass Effect title is, we don't know much about it. And the most stunning omission, again, was just the fact that there was the teaser. There was no title, no gameplay, no substance. That pretty much was the omission. So Ubisoft. Moving on now to Ubisoft and their conference. Theirs, to me, was the most odd of the day. I just found a lot of things in their presentation very odd. But they started with Far Cry 4. And again, that was really no surprise because Far Cry is a big Ubisoft title. It releases this November 18th. Set in the fictional, untamed country of Kyrat in the Himalayas. So not a whole lot of details at this point, except what we saw in the trailers. So a little bit in that, not a whole lot. But again, Far Cry is huge. It always sells, so I expect that game to do quite well. A new Just Dance is coming out this October, Just Dance 2015. A lot of current music on there, including Happy from Pharrell. I know some of you don't like that song, but hey, it's catchy. Also, Applause by Lady Gaga's in there. And there's also a new Just Dance app, which is very cool. This lets you actually dance with your friends through smartphones, tablets, iPods, iPhones, so you don't even have to play the game to spread the dance fever around, which I thought that was very, very cool. I was really impressed with the crew. Again, I'm a racing nut, so when I saw this game, I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go, this is awesome. I was really impressed with the crew. It comes out on November 11th. What really got me with the crew, and I thought was the coolest feature, it takes, from coast to coast in-game, it takes 90 minutes, okay? But the single-player campaign is 20 hours. 20 hours long. That was just stunning to me. But it's an open world. You're going across the United States, so maybe it makes sense that it's 20 hours. And it entails infiltrating criminal groups, so I thought that was very cool. Missions can be played alone, with friends, or with online co-op. So a lot of different experiences you can play in this game. And maybe why? Because it's 20 hours? There are no in-game loading screens, no pauses. It is fluid all the way throughout. That's awesome. The crew's creative directors called the game a role-playing game with large-scale multiplayer elements. The multiplayer is not separate from the single player, and the players can form crews to race together or against ghost records. So that, to me, that just sounds really, really cool. Now, they're going to have a closed beta of the game, and that begins this summer, actually next month on July 23rd. So that, to me, was a big hit for Ubisoft, in my opinion. And then it got kind of weird. Then it really got kind of weird. With the Shape Up game. I don't know what y'all thought about this, but to me, first off, it's a fitness title for Kinect. I never thought I'd see the day where Ubisoft got involved with Kinect. That was kind of surprising. And then they had the thing on stage where they had the U.S. guy take on the French guy, and the U.S. guy won, and that was just, to me, kind of odd. It's just, and the graphics look like they're from the 80s or 70s when fitness was actually kind of cool. It's 2014. You know, at this time you don't put out a game look like from the 80s. Just my thought. So to me, that was really weird. I wasn't fond of that. They didn't just release it yet. Maybe a good thing. Put a little work into your game. But I don't know. That was weird. We saw Valiant Hearts: The Great War, a multi-platform puzzle game. That comes out actually next week on June 25th. So a week from today. Puzzle adventure video game. Turns around 4 strangers entering the battlefield to help a young German soldier find his love. Aww. So, great story in that. It is a multi-platform. It'll be on PS3, PS4, 360, and Xbox One. So, multi-platform title. We'll see how it does this week. The interesting thing to note here, though, it is powered by UbiArt Framework, an in-house engine previously used for Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends and Child of Light. Oh, goody. So they didn't announce a Rayman title. This is used from a Rayman engine. Oh, goody. So I can only wonder now how that game's going to sell here in the States. And then they ended with Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Didn't give a release date, only showed the gameplay. But to be quite honest with you, with that, again, I wasn't that impressed overall. Because we just got the gameplay, not much else, and not much detail. So I was quite depressed with bless me, disappointed in that. So I gave Ubisoft a C. That's the worst grade I gave any conference because it was just average. There were some hits, but there were some odd misses. It was just an average C conference. Top 5 reveals to me: Far Cry 4, The Crew. They mentioned Assassin's Creed Unity, so I put that there in third. And then these really by default: Tom Clancy's Division, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. That's really by default because there wasn't a whole lot there to see. Odd reveal obviously goes to Shape Up. Most anticipated game to me is The Crew. Most controversial, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, because we haven't seen a whole lot of it. And most stunning omissions, no Rayman! Yay! I'd have to scream at the screen if it was a new Rayman game, but this time, no Rayman game. So, good. Maybe they've learned their lesson. No Rabbids game either, so 2 of their big names, no new games. And no details on the Tom Clancy Rainbow Six. Just all we got was gameplay. Why not give us some detail? I don't know. Alright, then to me we had the winners of the day, and that was Sony. And not just because I'm a Sony nut, because I have a PlayStation 4 in my own home. It's not just because of that. It's because of the fact that to me they gave a lot of exclusives and they had some really good moments. Sony led off with Destiny. Destiny is going to be a big title when it comes out. We know that. It's been hyped for a long time now. September 9th is when it comes out. Multi-platform first-person shooter game. What I found was interesting. Unlike choosing a race like Human, Awoken, or Exo, choosing a class has a massive effect on how Destiny is played and on character development. Each class has its own focus, which is a special ability that can be used in co-op missions and competitive matches to turn the tides in the player's favor. And, you know, the abilities to be offensive, defensive, or buffing for a fire team. So that was really cool. And the most effective ability is the super, which is a skill move. So that was very cool. And each super has an upgradable skill tree. This game is going to be so intense. It looked awesome when they first showed it. It's going to be, I think, a big-time seller. The beta will first be out on PlayStation on July 17th. Tomorrow, they're going to reveal Destiny Alpha on PS4, an early look at it. And then on September 9th, this was a big mic drop announcement for me. The first ever white PlayStation 4 is going to be coming out on September 9th. Wow, that's going to be huge. And it's going to be a Destiny bundle. So you're going to get the white PlayStation 4, you're going to get the game, you're going to get a controller, you know, you're probably going to get, you know, maybe some kind of DLC. That is going to be absolutely huge. So that was a huge announcement for me. That made me clap at the tablet that I was watching the conferences on because I'm like, wow, okay, wow, oh wow, that was huge. So very excited to see how well Destiny does. We also got to look at the Order 1886. That comes out in early 2015. That's a PS4 exclusive. Set in an alternate history in London where an old order of knights keep all the world safe from half-breed monsters. Ooh. Yeah, so that definitely was interesting. But when I looked at the gameplay of it, I actually wasn't quite fully impressed. The story, again, is really, really nice, but the gameplay itself, I wasn't thrilled with it. It's okay, but not jump off the page, out of my seat, thrilling. So, just my take on that. That will be an exclusive to see, interestingly, how well that does compare to other exclusives. Entwined to me, I thought was a really odd announcement. It's a downloadable game from 2 new game developers. Basically, it's 2 species who really can't be together. They have to be kind of coming together in these different worlds and scenarios. Now, the PS4 version is available now. It's in the PlayStation Store for only $9.99. The PS3 and the Vita versions will follow. I just found that game very, very odd. I didn't get it. Watching it play out, I'm like, what the heck am I watching? What is this? I didn't understand it. So, to me, that one confused me. There will be new DLC out for Infamous Second Son, which, the way that game's selling right now, that's really, really cool. Coming this August, Infamous First Light. So that will be the new DLC for that title. Little Big Planet 3 is coming to PlayStation 4. That is huge. The Little Big Planet franchise, again, one of PlayStation's and Sony's cornerstones. It's a big-time franchise. 3 new characters announced in the game with each different abilities. They looked cool and fun to play out when it was on the screen. So that was really, really neat. So I think that one's going to do very, very well. Even though, again, it's a PS4 exclusive coming out this November, I think that one is going to do very, very well as well. They announced, from the group From Software, they announced a game called Armored Core 6. They showed the gameplay. That'll come out next year. We also got an announcement of Dead Island 2. Now, many of you thought, and I thought the same thing, well, wait, wasn't Dead Island Riptide Dead Island 2? Well, apparently it wasn't, because we got an announcement that Dead Island 2 is coming out. No release date yet announced, but apparently they're making a Dead Island 2. So, who knows what that's going to entail, but they certainly made the announcement. What's also cool, a couple of big remastered announcements. Last of Us, we knew that was coming to PS4. They made that announcement. That's coming next month in July 29th. Also, Diablo 3 is coming to PlayStation 4, so that is very cool. They already put it out earlier for the 360 and the PS3, but now it is coming to PlayStation 4. That's coming on August 19th, so that is very, very cool as well. We got our first glimpse at the new Disney Infinity, Disney Infinity 2.0, and it's Marvel superheroes. You get to play as your favorite Avengers characters. That is going to be awesome. That comes out this September 23rd. So, if you think about it, September and October are going to be big for these interactions. You have Disney Infinity 2.0 coming out in September. You've got Skylanders Track Team coming out in October. So, they're going to be kind of back-to-back right there with each other in terms of the big character interactive titles. It will also have the same modes as the first Infinity with Playset and Toy Box. Playset mode, multiple story modes based particularly on a certain franchise, and only characters from the franchise they were included in can be used in that playset. So this will be the Avengers. It will take place in Marvel Manhattan, a version of Manhattan that is 4 times larger than the Incredibles playset, if that gives you any idea of what to expect there. And in the latter mode, Toy Box mode, that allows players to create their own games and worlds using items to unlock in playset mode. But some aspects of the game have been changed in 2.0. In addition to ground movement, certain characters will be able to fly and hover. That's very, very cool. The size of the worlds have been increased, notably because of the flying inclusion. Certain characters can climb walls, including the Hulk. I mean, hello, you get to play the Hulk in that game. That's pretty cool. The level cap of characters has been expanded from level 15 to level 20, so higher level, and players now be able to use a skill tree to upgrade character abilities. Also, there'll be enhanced Toy Box editor tools. We'll also feature automated builders that can be dropped into the Toy Box and generate worlds, so that will be very cool, kind of like Project Spark, creating your own experiences. There'll still be power discs, so that'll unlock, that will return from the first game as well. There'll be 80 new power discs that have been confirmed to be released, so that's cool. And some will feature team-ups. Team-ups will make other characters pop up in-game to fight alongside the player, so that's also a very cool feature as well. And this is also huge. All figures, power discs, and toy boxes from the first Disney Infinity are compatible with Disney Infinity 2.0, so that's also a very good thing for the Infinity franchise. So that is very huge. A huge announcement as well. So it's Infinity, it's Disney, the first one, I guess considering its success, making a second, awesome. I think people, and of course kids alike, are going to love it. An odd announcement to me was kind of that Magicka 2. That looked like an odd trailer after that from Paradox. It was announced, but no release date given yet. Then they put out a lot of remasters. Grim Fandango being released for PS4 and Vita. That's going to be huge. Broforce comes out sometime this year as well. They're remaking Titan Souls for PS4. Not a Hero. Hotline Miami Wrong Number. Talos Principle, that's going to be a PS4 exclusive. Let It Die, a PS4 exclusive coming out in 2015. Abzu, a PlayStation 4 exclusive, is coming out. It's a new title from Giant Squid coming out, to be announced. And then another one I found interesting, it's from an independent developer from Hello Games, is No Man's Sky. That will make its console debut on PlayStation 4, which is very, very cool. Science fiction game, open world game, planetary exploration, deep ocean, space-based battles, predators. Each world has its own ecosystem with potentially unforgiving conditions. So that game sounds like it's going to be amazing in terms of gameplay and graphics, in terms of the open world that it has. So that game will be exciting as well. They briefly mentioned Project Morpheus, and we expected this from Sony. This new kind of virtual reality headset thing that they expect to use. It is designed to fully function with the PlayStation 4, so that's very cool for PS4 owners like myself. But it is still currently a prototype. It will be released sometime after this year, 2014. So we got a brief glimpse. We didn't get a whole lot of it, but certainly it looks like it's going to be a very, very cool concept once it comes out. Then they kind of made announcements regarding stuff on the PlayStation Network. YouTube is coming to PlayStation this year. You also can do now spectating via Twitch and Ustream. That was awesome. PlayStation Now will be available as an open beta on PS4, coming out in later in July. You'll be able to have a library of more than 100 PS3 titles at your hands. That's cool. They are developing more than 100 titles for PlayStation Vita today, including Minecraft. So the Minecraft franchise is continuing to expand. It's already selling well for 360 and PS3. There's going to be an Xbox One version. Now there's going to be a Vita version. Many people now are asking, where's the PlayStation 4 version? So that's going to happen. Then the announcement of PlayStation TV. This will be very, very cool. It will play any title from PS4 to PS1. That's 1,000 games available at launch for only $99. Wow. And then there'll be a bundle for $139 with accessories like there'll be a DualShock 3, an HDMI cable, an 8GB memory card, and a voucher for the Lego Movie game. So that's very huge. How will this work? The console will connect to a TV through the HDMI. Now they can play using a DualShock 3 controller with functionality for DualShock 4 added with a firmware update. So that'll be also huge. Although it says here, although due to the difference in features between the controller and the handheld, certain games are not compatible with PS Vita TV, such as those that are dependent on the system's touchscreen, rear touchpad, microphone, or camera. Device is said to be compatible with over 100 Vita games, as well as various PlayStation Portable, PlayStation, and PC Engine titles. Very, very cool. This is a mic drop moment. This was very, very huge. It will support up to 1080i resolution. It will support remote play capability. It will stream games from the PS4 to a separate TV. Allow users to stream content from video series services such as Hulu and Nico Nico. Will include the software features of the Vita. Huge. So, absolutely huge. Big announcement there for Sony. We got to see the new Mortal Kombat X, the new multi-platform game that released next year in 2015. It will allow players to choose between multiple versions of each character, with each version finding differences in gameplay. So that's a very huge feature. They told us about the new Ratchet & Clank movie coming out in theaters 2015. I will definitely be seeing that. I'm a huge Ratchet & Clank fan. And they're working on a title for PS4, so I will definitely be probably getting my hands on that as well. We got to see some of Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. No release date given on that yet, but that is going to be a huge title as well. They also made the big announcement, and I always have people ask me on this. Chris, when are they going to make GTA 5 for PlayStation 4? Chris, when is it going to come out? Chris, is it out yet? You know, everyone's asking me this. GTA 5 is coming to PS4 this fall. So the answer I finally tell people, yes, it's finally coming. So that to me was a huge announcement that Sony made. We finally got to see Batman Arkham Knight. That was really cool. That comes out in 2015 next year. For the first time, the Batmobile was a drivable vehicle. I mean, hello, that's awesome. So a lot to look for there. And finally, they ended, as expected, with Uncharted 4. We expected to see that as well, but they ended with that. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. So, interesting title, A Thief's End. So maybe that will be the end of the series. So that will be an exclusive for PS4 as well. No release date on that just yet. But that was a huge dropper at the end. So I gave Sony an A. I had to. I mean, hello, all the exclusives, all the mic drop moments, all of that awesomeness, I had to. Top reveals for me, Uncharted 4, Destiny with the new console, Batman Arkham Knight, Little Big Planet 3, and Metal Gear Solid 5. The odd reveal award went to Entwined. Again, I found that really odd. Most anticipated game to me is Uncharted 4, obviously. Most controversial game to me is that Order 1886, because I wasn't very fond of that. And then the most stunning omissions to me, no Last Guardian. PlayStation came out and said that that many thought the game was canceled. Then they said, no, it's not. They thought we were going to reveal it at E3. Didn't happen. So no Last Guardian. But what really made me angry and ticked off, no Drive Club. No Drive Club. And you know what? They showed ads of Drive Club all throughout E3. They showed ads of it all the way throughout. And it didn't happen. I mean, seriously. Did not happen. Didn't show any footage. Nothing. They kept showing ads saying, coming October 7, 2014. Every time I looked at that, I said, for real this time? I already got played once. I don't want to get played again. I've been waiting for that game to come out. How fast do you want to go? How fast do you want to put out your game? Anger to me. If only you could see my face right now. Just, ugh. My sweaty, headache-filled, slowly going away. Thankfully that'd be ibuprofen, but headache-filled face. It would just, ugh. Angry. And then finally, we got to see Nintendo's digital event. Kicked off with Super Smash Bros., obviously, for 3DS and Wii U. That was the big title they were going to be pushing. The 3DS version will come out on October 3rd. The Wii U version will come out this holiday. For the first time in the game, you can use your Mii character as a fighter. That's cool. You get to choose what class you want to be in, whether you're a brawler, a sword fighter, or a gunner. So 3 different ways to play the game. And there are 36 special moves altogether. Very, very cool. It'll be the first game also to support Nintendo's new Amiibo feature, which is kind of like Skylanders Infinity, where you have these little characters and you actually put them on the gamepad of the Wii U, and you put them in the game experience. So that's very, very cool as well. But obviously, Super Smash Bros. Always sells. It's going to sell well. So, Smash Balls make a return. Assist trophies are included, like Skull Kid from Legend of Zelda, French Bulldog from Nintendogs. The Wii U version will be in high definition. The 3DS version will be obviously enhanced by its characters' black outlines, which can be toggled on and off. So, you can do that in either or. Both versions include the same roster of playable characters, but the 2 versions each feature exclusive stages, assist trophies, and collectibles, which had been previously featured in their platform's respective lineages. So there'll be a few different things. Many of the stages in both versions feature a Final Destination variation, which features flat terrains with hazards and layout alterations removed. The 3DS version features an exclusive Smash Run mode based on the City Trial mode from Kirby Air Ride, so that will be very cool. And of course, like I said, the Wii U version will be compatible with the Amiibos. There will also be 2 modes in the online gameplay, for Fun and for Glory. For Fun, we'll have random stages and items with Smash matches only and Final Destination stages omitted. For Glory, limits matches to just Final Destination stages with no items and the option for one-on-one battles for more tournament-style gameplay. So again, different ways to play this game. So very, very cool in that respect. I mentioned the Amiibos. So, new feature. Basically, toys coming to life. Their data can be downloaded into any game you are playing. Compatible figurines linked with video games on the console through the gamepad. 2-way transfer of data. So, you put the character data in the game, you play it. The way they showed it in the trailer was they put a Mario character and put it in the Super Smash Bros. So, that was very, very cool. And actually, that game will be among the first games to support this new platform. So, very, very cool. It can store statistics and custom move sets. So that was very neat. That game obviously is going to be a big seller for the Wii U and the 3DS across the board. There's a new Yoshi game coming, and I thought this was very exciting. We knew we knew a Yoshi Yarn game was coming in some aspect. We didn't know what it would be for, but it's going to be for the Wii U, Yoshi's Woolly World. Now, this will also be a 2-player co-op, which is very, very cool. And this will release kind of in the first quarter of 2015. It's kind of like Kirby's Epic Yarn. If you've ever played the Kirby Epic Yarn game, everything made out of yarn, fabric. Now, Yoshi will retain most of his moveset from Yoshi's Island games, including using his tongue, which is his big weapon. But, unlike other games where swallowing enemies would produce eggs, which Yoshi could then throw, Yoshi instead produces balls of yarn. And these yarn balls have various uses. Some will tie up enemies, some will, or fill in platforms and objects, so that's also cool. So, very, very cool. Again, I think that game will sell rather well. Just depends on if people want to not tie Yoshi with yarn, but, we shall see. It's a Yoshi game. Yoshi games usually do quite well. The one I found really odd, at least to me, was Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. We're giving Toad his own game now. I found that rather odd. That will release this holiday. It builds upon the Captain Toad levels first introduced in Super Mario 3D World. So, I guess in some respect it's interesting, but, that to me was just kind of odd. In the game, players control Captain Toad, who must safely navigate across various levels in order to reach a star at the end of each. He is unable to jump, oh, goody, but is able to pull out roots to reveal either coins or turnips that can be thrown at enemies, as well as sprint and a dash, so his speed is utilized. Players can manipulate the camera to move to view around the level, which can reveal hidden areas containing bonus gems. So, yeah, I didn't get that. It's a nice idea, but as a whole, I didn't get that game. They're making a new Legend of Zelda for Wii U coming out next year in 2015. It is a vast open-world game. The world looks huge. Players can reach different areas in a variety of ways from different directions, and once clearing obstacles, they can approach an area from any direction. So we didn't get a whole lot of details on that, but certainly a very open world was the big feature that we got from that. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire being remade for 3DS. That will come out this November 21st. And then the rest of Europe on the 28th. The only detailed information given is that the new games will take the players through a dramatic story within a spectacular new world. Now this was interesting. Following the announcement, it was unclear if Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were remakes or entirely new games due to the wording of the press release. In a financial results briefing that occurred a day after the reveal, the president confirmed the new games are full remakes of the counterparts, which I kind of figured as much, so that they were remakes. It only makes sense that they're remakes, at least to me. So there was new gameplay footage that we saw, new playable character designs, new Mega Evolutions for Sceptile and Swampert. Hello. That were not featured in X and Y as Blaziken was. Hinted that other Mega Stones could only be found in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, so that's very cool. And also announced that I saw new forms of Groudon and Kyogre. Whoa, I mean, that is just also cool. So a lot to look forward to with the remakes. Definitely will be interesting to see, of course. Again, it's Pokemon, so you know it's really going to sell very well. But a lot to look forward to in that remake as well. We got to see Bayonetta 2 for Wii U. That comes out this October. And it will actually be bundled with the first Bayonetta game. So that's very, very huge. As well, there was a lot of controversy with Bayonetta 2. The fact that that was only being made for the Wii U. But as I read, were it not for Nintendo stepping up and saying, hey, we'll make this for the Wii U, Bayonetta 2 wouldn't even exist. So that's really the big thing with it. So definitely a big-time hack-and-slash game, very intense action-style gameplay with it as well. We got to see a brief glimpse of Hyrule Warriors, combining the Zelda series and Dynasty Warriors. That comes out this September 26th. It has a kind of a new incarnation of Link, the protagonist, as a Hylian soldier in training. And at some point, the Princess Zelda is kidnapped by a witch named Sia. And formerly the protector of the Triforce, Sia, a good person at heart, becomes corrupted when she falls in love with Link and grows jealous of Zelda's familiarity with him. So that is definitely a very interesting story. So it mixes the hack-and-slash gameplay of Dynasty Warriors with the settings and characters from the Zelda series. So if you're a fan of both Zelda and Dynasty Warriors, it sounds like you're really going to like Hyrule Warriors as well. We saw a new Kirby game, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, coming out for Wii U in 2015. Players will use the Wii U gamepad to help Kirby, who is stuck in a ball form, move across... When is he not stuck in a ball form? I find that interesting when I read that. Move across the level by drawing rainbow-colored lines on the touchscreen to guide him. Ooh. Making Kirby go through loops will speed him up, whilst touching him will put him into a spinning attack, a la Sonic the Hedgehog, to use against enemies. Kirby can gain various forms throughout the game, such as a submarine, a rocket, and a tank. That will be very intriguing. So finally, Kirby coming to the Wii U. We saw Xenoblade Chronicles X. This one actually very much impressed me. It used to be just called X, which at the time it was announced looked to me like a complete rip-off of Transformers, and I called them you Transformers rip-off bastards. Well, not anymore. They've completely changed the gameplay now. It's now an action RPG open-world game that releases next year. So this looks very cool. Centers around a group of Homs that work for Blade, Beyond the Logos Artificial Destiny Emancipator, fighting against an invading human race from Earth following the planet's destruction in the previous game. So, very, very interesting there. Open world role-playing video game with an emphasis on exploration. So, that looks a lot better than what it first did when it was announced. Kind of going off the Project Spark thing, there'll be a 2015 game called Mario Maker, where you can create your own custom courses. That will release, again, in 2015, just for the Wii U. So players create their own Mario levels and courses. They can use and easily switch between two different visual styles, the original Super Mario Bros. 8-bit graphics and the new Super Mario Bros. HD graphics. So very, very cool. You can switch between the graphics to make different courses. And then the really cool one, and this is the one they ended with, but this is one of my favorites that they revealed, Splatoon. I found this game to be very, very cool. It's a third-person shooter. It comes out the first quarter of 2015. It's a team-based third-person shooter, but it's playable by up to 8 players in 4-on-4. Very cool there, getting a lot of players involved. You have 2 teams, the simply named Good Guys and Bad Guys. Couldn't get any fancier with that, though. Okay. I'm Good Guy going up against Bad Guys. Okay, yeah. Players control characters known as Inklings. That was cool. Who have the ability to change between human and squid form. And I watched this gameplay and I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. This is kind of like paintball, but you're switching between forms. You're spraying ink all over the place. If you can swim through your own ink as a squid, But if you step into someone else's ink, you get stuck as a person. You can only shoot ink as a person. There's just so much dynamic here. I'm like, this is so awesome. In human form, inkers are able to shoot colored ink across the game environment, but the player's goal being to have most territory inked in their team's color before the match ends. Does this sound like ink Risk to you? It kind of does to me in a way, but that's what makes it cool. This territory is mine. No, now it's mine. You know, it has that dynamic to it. Transforming into a squid allows players to swim through ink of their own color, even up walls, replenishing their ink supply in the process. Conversely, enemy ink is much slower to move across in human form. You get stuck. Players can use their ink to try and splatter their opponents, which will send them back to their team's respawn point. So even there's defense mechanism in this game. Respawn players can instantly launch toward the location of their teammate. So you can launch, you can fly in the air. Various weapons can be obtained, such as a paint roller, a bazooka, and a sniper rifle. Very, very cool. So overall, I gave Nintendo a B. I thought it was a very generous B. They had some great titles released, some great announcements. I was very impressed. I was not as impressed as Microsoft to Sony as a whole, but impressed enough. Top 5 reveals to me, obviously Super Smash is one. The Yoshi game, 2, Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, Splatoon, and Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Those 5 to me were the huge ones. Odd reveal goes to Captain Toad. Most anticipated game, it's got to be Super Smash or Splatoon, either one. Most controversial to me was Legend of Zelda for Wii U, because to me the main character looked nothing like Link. At least not to me. They said it was Link. It looked to me nothing like Link, so that to me was just odd. And then stunning omissions for me, no new Mario game at all. Odd. No Star Fox for Wii U. There was potential talk of that. And there was hardly any mentions at all of the 3DS. They are really, really pushing the Wii U. There were hardly any mentions of 3DS. So, my overall awards that I kind of came up with. Best Conference, Sony wins. Microsoft second, Nintendo third. The odd reveal overall winner, to me, goes to Ori and the Blind Forest. I just find that game, that trailer, so odd and weird and stupid. I didn't get it. Shape Up gets the silver, and Twine gets the bronze. Most anticipated game for me is Super Smash. I think that one, again, is going to be a big-time selling winner for 3DS and Wii U. I put The Crew second and Uncharted 4 in third. Most controversial game, Project Spark. I think with the whole Conker thing that blew up Twitter, to me that's the winner. Legend of Zelda for Wii U second, and the new Mass Effect title in third. Most stunning omission to me, No Drive Club. No Drive Club wins. Most stunning omission. You bastards. No Drive Club. Silver goes to the teasers from EA, and bronze goes to Microsoft for no mention of the 360 or the new console, the new Xbox One for $399. And then I had to, out of the 25 that I picked for the best reveals, I chose 10 that I'm awarding Best in Show. These, to me, were the 10 best titles that I thought are really going to sell well, I expect them to do well, and I think they're going to be completely off the charts, one of the top games of the year. Sunset Overdrive, Dragon Age Inquisition, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Battlefield Hardline, The Crew, Uncharted 4, Destiny, Batman Arkham Knight, Super Smash Bros., and Splatoon. Those 10, I think, are going to be, at the end of the day, really, really big-time sellers. If I'm wrong year down the line or two, we go back to this list and criticize me all you want. But I think these 10 put themselves head and shoulders above every other title that was announced. And I think they're going to be the big-time winners at the end of the day. Alright, guys. That is it for this video, or podcast. Again, I apologize for the fact that I couldn't actually have a video up. When I started recording this, I'm still not wearing a shirt. It's still, I've got the air full blast on in here. Not really air, but my fans. My air is down. But I'm trying to get cooled off. It's muggy. It's very bad. And I was having a headache, but I took ibuprofen. It's starting to go down a little bit. So thank you guys again for understanding. Thank you so much again for following and supporting the channel. in terms of what's next to come, this will probably be it for the Plugged In series because of the fact that fantasy football is right around the corner. Now, CBS has not launched their free fantasy football leagues yet, so I have reached out to my co-owners, and I have potentially talked about branching out to either NFL.com or ESPN.com. Matt, you guys remember Matt from the season-ending show last year? Matt really wants to play on ESPN.com. I looked at that, and I think actually it's a little bit better than NFL.com overall, so I think we're going to be leaning toward that. So I'll be joining a league very, very soon on ESPN.com for my team this year. I don't know if I announced my team name on here yet this season. I'm going with the Nightcrawlers, and actually that's not the worm. Our team logo is a spider. I was actually inspired by the Richmond Spiders that had become the only NCAA team that had that nickname for a team. So I was inspired by that. I always wanted to have something with night in the title. Very cool. And then I just kind of got the crawler aspect from the crawling spider. So that's what our team name is going to be, the Nightcrawlers. I don't know if you've seen the logo on my videos, but it's up on the wall as well, and I'll be showing that in future videos. So we'll probably get on an ESPN league very soon. We'll have our draft probably sometime in July. So then there'll be a vid. So then the next video you guys will probably see will be come this July when we have my post fantasy draft breakdown. That will probably be the next video you guys see on the channel. So I appreciate the support of the Plugged In series. I know that I didn't get a whole lot of views, but for you guys who did watch it, I appreciate it. I thank you for that. I might from now on maybe every week or so, or again every other week, kind of share brief thoughts. I might even do it continuing in this podcast form on the weekly chart. But I won't do like a full-on video. That won't be for Plugged In anymore. It'll kind of just maybe just be in this podcast format. So thank you guys again so much. I appreciate it. God bless. Have a great week, and I will see you next time, maybe even in 2 weeks for a Plugged In podcast video, or a coming in July with the post-draft breakdown video. Thanks, guys. Take care.